Welcome to the realm of magic and mystery, classic horror and sci-fi. You are now entering the House of the Unusual podcast with your hosts, Eddie and Joe. Welcome all you cool ghouls and friendly fiends to the House of the Unusual podcast. I'm your host, Joe Pavlansky, and with me as always is, man, we have a huge lineup today, man. We got all of our good friends in today. Man, I'm just going to go down the list here. We got Eddie Guevara as usual. We got Chuck and Cheri Caputo, and we got Michael Mezmer. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
All right, thank you.
Welcome. I thought you were going to say House of the Usual.
House of the Usual. Yeah, if you're listening to us regularly, it is House of the Usual.
That's right.
Today we're going to get a little unusual. We have a lot of stuff to get into here real quick, but one thing I just want to talk about real quick before we get into it is the new issue of Scary Monsters number 126 is up for pre-order, and this is going to be a fantastic issue all about Tolkien and his monsters. Scott Jackson did another great cover for that, a wraparound cover. So head over to mymoviemonsters.com and get your pre-order in now so you can make sure that you have that issue when it comes out. Also, make sure you check us out on YouTube at House of the Unusual and subscribe to our channel, like our videos. There's always stuff coming out every week. Chuck and Andy are putting out some great videos, so make sure you check it out. And also our flagship website at houseoftheunusual.com. We have a free forum site there that you could sign up and join. Talk with some other people on there who might have the same interests as you. So make sure you go and check that out. All right, now that we got out all the shameless advertising and all that, let's see how everybody's doing over there. You know what? We are going to start. We're gonna go ladies first tonight and see how Cheri's doing. Cheri, the mic is yours. What's up?
Hi, everybody. Not too much. I wanted to tell you today I went to see or had acupuncture done. I don't know if any of you guys ever had that done before.
Yes, in fact, I've had it done in China. It's interesting, but yeah, that's good stuff.
Oh, in China. Okay. Oh, well, yeah, I actually have been having pain for my left shoulder going down to my arm, and I've tried everything. The one thing that does help is when I exercise, but I decided to try the acupuncture, and in the meantime, I did get an x-ray, and it does show that I have like a bone spur. So I'm not sure and how this is going to pan out. But it was a different experience. It was relaxing. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I feel like I can get more movement in my arms.
Oh, good.
Yeah, still a little sensitive.
Nice.
Good.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey. So let's stay tuned here and keep our fingers crossed. You know,
Yeah,
if that works, I'd like to get a needle in my head, like maybe to help me think better.
Yeah, right.
Well, you got to do like Joe. He goes for deep penetrating needles. He's rough.
Yeah, you got to get the dry needling where it's about an inch long needle, and they really put it in you. They say, my buddy said that when they were in school, that their professor told them while they were practicing the dry needling, if you're not hitting bone, you're not going deep enough.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I tell you what, we were talking before the show started, but I'll let everybody out there in podcast land know of what happened with me. And I've always wanted to try the acupuncture too, but my buddies, one's a chiropractor, the other one's a physical therapist, both said to try the dry needling because I had both of my elbows. I think it was like around like tennis elbow or something. It was the elbow, and then on the inside, and my forearms were real bad. And I couldn't even like grip anything. I could barely hold a can of pop, and it was going on for about a month. And I was trying heat, exercises, massages, ice. Nothing was working. So I called them up and said, hey, I got this issue. What do you think? They said, oh, try dry needling. You'll be fine. I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. So they pulled out those needles. I said, and I'm not a person that likes needles. I said, whoa. I said, how far is that going in me? He said, all the way. I said, what do you mean?
Whoa.
Oh my goodness.
I tell you what, they did the dry needling on both of my elbow area and forearms. And they also did what's called a cartilage scrape, where they put like this, it looks almost like a grease where your cartilage would be on and your muscles on your arm. and then it looks like a butter knife, and they press in and they kind of scrape down. I guess what it does is it gets rid of the dead cartilage that's on the good cartilage. And I got it done, and about an hour later, I was at the gym working out. I was at about 90%. I went back the next week to my other buddy who's the chiropractor. I got it done through him again.
Man, did they put you to sleep for this, Joe, or were you awake for this whole thing?
You're awake, and I tell you what, you really can't feel it. The needles it's like acupuncture needles.
Okay.
It's so thin, but the only time it might get you if it hits like a nerve, you'll really feel it. But I tell you what, it's almost like worth it because you'll feel that little bit of pain, but then you're like, oh my gosh, my arm feels so good. So
wait a second.
Yeah, I looked at my buddy when he pulled out that needle. I said, how far is that going in? He said, all the way. I said,
one second. Where does the witch doctor want to come in here?
I tell you, that's what it's almost like witch doctor, because it's not if you read about it and all that, there's a lot of people that are against it, but yet there's a lot of people that are for it. So it's almost like, this witch doctor type stuff that,
if I'm in pain, I would try it. If I'm in a lot of pain, I would definitely try it. I'll keep that in mind.
Here's the best part that you guys don't realize, but our Joe, the one and only Mr. Joe Pavlansky, he's now going back or trying to get back into MUFON. He wants to study UFOs since the witch doctors and the earth don't work. He want to try out of space,
I got to try some space aliens.
Oh, that's wow.
Tell us about that.
Maybe they'll help beat me up. Well, I don't want to say too much because I haven't really talked.
Tell us something, Joe.
I got nothing to say. The mum's the word.
Nothing to say.
Mum's the word. So we're gonna move on. So Chuck and Cheri, you guys got anything else to share with us, or anything else new? Any new shows coming up?
Yeah, you know what? We have a show tomorrow, as a matter of fact. So
nice.
We're gonna be doing it. It's a place. It's for like an assisted living type of thing. So so I'm actually getting a few things together right now, and I want to rehearse a couple of the things. And so so it's probably maybe 5 minutes from our home, huh, Cheri?
It's not far.
It's very close. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I might be out in your guys' area this Saturday. I'm actually, Eddie brought up MUFON. I'm actually going to a Pennsylvania MUFON conference.
I thought it was Saturday, sir.
What's that?
I thought you said mum. Now what happened, mum?
Well, this is just they're having a bunch of speakers, and it's at the Westmoreland Community College.
Oh, I've done shows up there. That's a very nice place at the Westmoreland Community College. Yeah, that's like what that is, Joe, is like a whole campus. Make sure you find out what building to go to, because it is pretty big.
Yeah, I'll have to look. I'm it's about an hour and a half for me, but they have some really good speakers up there. Some of them I've heard of. They got Bill Burns, John Venture, Richard Lang, Kerry Trent.
Wow. When is this? Is this Saturday. Saturday, you said. Oh, okay.
Yeah, this Saturday, 9 to 8 p.m. Well, they have
this guy.
It ends at 6. It ends at 6:30, but then they have a dinner Q&A after that, which I'm not going to stay for that. I'll head on home. But
you know what? You're not far from Kecksburg. Man. Kecksburg is just outside of Greensburg, which is actually not far from Westmoreland where you're at.
How far is Kecksburg from there?
I would say 20 minutes, 25 minutes, huh?
Ooh,
I'm not sure.
I would venture to say no more than a half an hour.
Oh, I might have to maybe head out that way.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, this guy's not going to be a speaker there. The Chinese or Japanese fellow from New York University, the one that's always on those UFOs, the scientist, the physics. What's his name? Caputo?
Who?
Caputo, or you guys know who I'm talking about? The Japanese guy. He's always on TV.
Yes.
What's his name?
Oh, I know his name. The guy with the long gray hair.
Yeah.
He used to be on our. He was on our. He used to be on our bell quite a bit.
Yeah, his name is Kaku, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember it offhand, but yes.
Yeah, he's a pretty brilliant guy. Yeah.
Look it up, Joe.
I have no idea. I'll have to look.
But Joe, he's the physics. They compare him to Einstein.
Are you talking about Michio Kaku?
That's it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's number one. He's phenomenal. I mean, the guy's the one that he's one of the physics in the world that believes in what they call the string theory. I think that's what he specializes in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of how the beginning of the universe and stuff. And he's, according to about him, they compare him to either Albert Einstein or that died in the wheelchair. Oh my God, I got a blank.
Hawking.
Yeah, Hawkins, whatever.
Yeah, Stephen
Hawking.
Hawking. Yeah.
Stephen Hawking, yeah, and he's phenomenal, super bright. And just like him, there's one other famous guy who talks about UFOs. He's got a beard. I can't remember his name. He did a thing called UFOs are real. Do you know who I'm talking about? He's very famous too in the UFO. He's a scientist.
That doesn't sum it up. That could be Chuck over there, a guy with a beard.
No, I think you're talking about Stanton Friedman. Is it?
Yes, Stanton Friedman. Yeah,
you know what? He's not Eddie. He's not going to be talking anymore. He died, man. He's been dead.
Yeah, he passed away. What, a year ago or a year
ago? Yeah.
You know, I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah, I tell you what. If it wasn't for him, all this stuff from Roswell would not have even come out. He was the one that brought everything to light in 1979. And yeah, he was a pretty cool guy.
It's interesting that you guys got into UFOs because I don't know if you know this or not, but more has emerged from that report from last summer. In fact, on Fox News just about an hour and a half ago when I was driving on their major news program, they were talking about some of the new revelations that came out of that report. You know, about Americans suffering from radiation burns, brain and nervous system damage, and unaccounted pregnancies, and all these things. It's pretty fascinating information. And now the Congress and this came out from the Department of Defense through Freedom of Information Act. And it's just amazing, but there's more coming out than what we heard initially. And so it's becoming very real. I've had several encounters with UFOs, and so for me, it's very real anyway, because I've seen them and I've experienced it. And also pilots that I've known, that I visited with in depth have had many experiences with flying objects in front of their aircraft that have no explanation. And they're even talking about they're studying on advanced technologies like invisibility cloaks, plans for deep space exploration and colonization. All of this is in that report. And it's pretty fascinating information. And some of this wasn't out till, like I say, they just released some of it, or more of it emerged from that report. And so around the world, people are really abuzz about this.
Yeah, I know there was still a lot redacted on that. And I had heard that, I heard on his podcast a few days ago that John Greenwald from the Black Vault, if nobody is familiar with him, he does a lot of FOIA requests for government conspiracy type stuff, UFOs and all that. Well, he kind of challenged that FOIA release because of all these redactions. So he's trying to get, another one released with less or no redaction. So hopefully that will be, they're saying that the people have been affected by burns and injuries from conditions related to electromagnetic radiation, and inflated by energy-related propulsion systems. I mean, it's pretty fascinating stuff.
Oh yeah. Hey, there was a case in 1980 down in Houston, Texas. Lloyd Benston was the governor at that time. I saw this in Unsolved Mysteries probably 30, 40 years ago. There was an elderly woman with her daughter in the car and the woman's son, and they were coming home from dinner, and there was a big craft that actually flew directly over top of them and actually landed on the road. And they became violently ill. I mean, it was like radiation, like you wouldn't believe. The elderly woman died shortly after, I think, but then the mother died of leukemia, like maybe 5 years later. And the son is alive to this day, but he's very sickly. You know what? Check into that. It was 1980. It was outside of Houston, Texas. I'll never forget it.
One thing I want to tell you guys, and since Mike just mentioned it, this technology that you guys just are hearing, believe it or not, it's been I remember hearing about that and reading about it more than 20 years ago. Like the one technology, the invisibility cloak, I forgot where it is, but you can actually see it. It's a jacket that reflects light around the person. Yeah. And it really works. I mean, you can see it on YouTube. If you actually look at this, examples of it where the scientists tested. They also were about, 4 or 5 years ago, they were able to do teleportation, like with a light beam instead of an actual thing like Star Trek, the teleporting into the planets. They were able to teleport a light beam from one place to the other. So this is technology we've had for a while. The only problem is that maybe it hasn't been made to the public. But that radiation and all that stuff, don't be surprised if all the experimental vehicles we don't know about, who knows if the government already has had
Oh,
UFOs?
absolutely.
Half of them are earthly domain, and that's where it's true when Mike is saying 100%. That technology has been not mentioned, but I've heard of it, so it's just probably coming out to light now.
It's true, and some of the UFOs could very well be, forward, futuristic technology that's from our government or from other governments that we don't know. So they haven't determined whether it's actually, from another planet or not. Right. But they definitely exist, and they definitely are beyond the understanding of what most people know, including airplane pilots and everyone else. I had a situation happen twice in my life. I was going one night very late after rehearsal for a show when I was 17. I was driving past a place actually that was known for witchcraft and satanic stuff, area of my area where I live. And but strangely enough, one night I was driving over the hill by a cemetery. Over on the right was this ball that was on fire that was rotating from green to red to, I believe it was green, red, and yellow or blue. And it was just going parallel with me on the freeway. It was gigantic. Wow. I decided to go off and chase it over the hills, and went over the hills. And when I went over the next hill, it was totally gone. That was one thing that happened to me. But another night, I was coming down from a hypnosis show like at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. 6 a.m. It was dark still, from up in Northern California. And I had my assistant with me, and she's a very straight person too. And we look over the right, and there's a triangle with lights heading down to the ground, parallel with us, going probably at least the speed we were, faster. And we were going, look at that. Can you believe that? And this is before we had the phones where we could try and snap photos and everything. Right. And anyway, we looked over, and all of a sudden we got to a certain point, and it just, bam, zoomed off, and it was gone. I've had some interesting experiences that way.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, the thing that has me suspicious is this. Okay, the guy who was the main investigator for Project Blue Book was a J. Allen Hynek. He actually started off as a skeptic. You know what? Like, he was always told just this, that's swamp gas or whatever. But then by the time Blue Book did come to an end, I'm not sure exactly what year that was, but
1969, I think.
In 1969, he became a proponent. You know what? He said, "No, man, there is things that that certainly look like it come from another dimension or whatever." So he went from a skeptic to a believer. And there's also guys like James Penniston and Colonel Corso. You know what? Guys like that have nothing to gain but everything to lose. And they came out and and they told their story from Rendlesham Forest, James Penniston, and Corso was R&D in the Air Force, and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, the thing I'm trying to say is I kind of have an open mind about it. I mean, I'm not saying one way or another, but you know what? When someone tells me they see a UFO, they've seen a UFO or seen a ghost, I don't laugh. I kind of sit down and talk to them about it, right?
That makes sense, except when Joe tells you got to keep it into that 2-3 times, just in case.
Yeah. So what were some other? You said you had a few, Mike, experiences. What were some other ones, if you're able to share?
Well, those were the two I personally had. But then I was on a cruise ship for many years in Asia, which is a whole nother story. And I had a lot of interesting ghost and paranormal experiences there too. But there were pilots that would come on there to get a break from their work, and from American Airlines and those and that type of thing. And we sat for several hours discussing their experiences. And they would see, what was interesting was they saw the same thing I saw, sort of this color changing object. And they saw it where it would just parallel with them, that it would pull in front of the aircraft and would be, matching their speed. And then they would just instantly fly away at a speed that was unheard of, that they couldn't even follow, it leaving. And they had seen it many times over the ocean, and out in the middle of the ocean, hours between countries, and they would see these things. And it would seem like, to me, after talking to several of them, it was pretty much something that happened quite a bit. It wasn't something unusual to them, but it was totally unexplainable. And they never reported it either, because they didn't want to lose their pilot license. So, but these people were serious.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You know what? Throughout the years, I've actually talked to different pilots also, and they said that they're actually told not to report these, things. So they keep it amongst themselves.
You guys forgot that one of the biggest change of events we had was back in the I think it was, where President Jimmy Carter saw one when he was on a ship.
Yeah, I remember that.
You guys remember that?
I do.
Do you remember that, Joe?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few different presidents that came out of. Who was the one? Was it Nixon who was said to have taken? I can't remember the celebrity's name.
I remember what you're talking about. Yeah, in fact, there's also one with Reagan. I actually have. I bought from a while back. I have a couple of books. I think it was called The Blue Project. The publisher, I forgot what it was, but books that have the whole meeting between Reagan and I forget what the Project Blue Books or something like that, or I have to look it up, or Nixon. But there's actual transcription.
But the difference was that Nixon was an alien. That's where you missed the point.
Oh, yeah. Well, our Joe is an alien.
I am an alien.
But Joe is an alien too. We just keep him under wraps, That's why he knows how to run the show. He carries the show.
Speaking of that, there's a lot of you can read a lot of science. Well, I guess you would call them scientific reports or reports from scientists.
Yes,
who think that we are the aliens, that we're all aliens on this planet. So
you're talking about
the aliens here, and then they were also talking about how that this planet, and I've read this over the years, different points of view on how this planet was kind of it's almost, well, I guess if you look at the Milky Way, and there's tons of planets in the Milky Way and stars. I think there's like 200 billion stars, and there's supposed to be approximately 5 planets per star. But our planet is supposedly kind of like in the middle of nowhere. We're like the outcast planet, in that a lot of people have said it, and you could take it as a grain of salt or take it for what it's worth, but that this planet was actually seeded with humans, with these different animals and insects, almost as like a zoo where we could be watched and studied. And it's kind of like, hey, just put them on here, and hey, let's see what they do, because there's also been a lot of studies that shown that our bodies aren't even made for this planet, like with the gravity and all that. That's why a lot of people have knee and back problems, that our bodies are made for the gravity that's on Mars. So, you can take that for what it's worth.
Yeah. Hey, I know
Joe,
I know one thing. Gravity has not been good to me. I mean,
me neither.
Well, it makes you old. No, but one thing I was going to tell you guys, and I'm sure that the only one that probably can relate to this is both Chuck and Mike. If you guys remember back in the old days, if you pick up any magazine from Startling Detective to I'm talking about way back in the early 70s, including magazines like Soldier of Fortune and Psychology Today. And now the reason I came across those magazines as a kid is because I always used to look for the mail order ads in them. But one thing I'm going to tell you. Yeah, no, I didn't say the robot plans,
Take a drink.
Now, but the thing I was going to say is there's a company, a mail order company. I think it's still in business today. I don't know if it's called New Age or something like that. And which also there's another one called Paladin Press, which used to advertise in back of Soldier of Fortune.
Oh,
and they sold books
familiar.
like the Poor Man's James Bond,
yep,
the Anarchist book 1, 2, and 3. They're actually books that taught you how to bombs and stuff. And the point I'm trying to say is that I think it was New Age. I forgot the name. I need to find one of my original catalogs, but the theories of the hollow earth, the theories of the flat earth, the theories of this all came from the early 1960s.
Right.
The problem is a lot of people think it's like new revelation. No, they're not. Social media today, where anything can be real or not. Like I can start a legend right now. There's people that say we came from lizard people. There's a lot of whack jobs, but at the same time, it's the way information moves about today.
Oh yeah.
On TikTok, on things that even real stuff. Like there's things coming out like Russia's doing this, which is all fake, and it's just the way. And the funny thing is that it creates followings, and that's where we have to be careful nowadays, because A lot of those theories. Now, the stuff Mike was just mentioning, Mike, which is so true about, you're saying about people getting sick and stuff.
Yes.
That's been around in a lot of the UFO. And Stanton Friedman is one of the guys that was actually talking about that. He has a videotape that came out. I mean, I can't believe he died. I know that. But one of the things that came out about several years ago, it's called UFOs Are Real.
Mm-hmm.
He goes on to explain his version and stuff. And one thing about Stanton Friedman is, I think of all the people out there, he was one of the smartest. So I'm very surprised to hear he passed away.
Yeah, he was a very intelligent man. If I'm not mistaken, he was a nuclear physicist.
Yeah, he was. He was.
Yeah.
Which, if you guys also know, a lot of people don't know that the smartest president we ever had was actually Jimmy Carter. He holds a PhD in rocket science. Not many presidents have that, you know.
I also have a PhD in peanuts as well.
Yes.
Hey, I like these impressions. We should keep that up. Hey, you want to hear my Stallone? Yo, hey, dude, how you doing?
That ain't too bad, Chuck. When I met you, I knew you had it.
And I could do Mick too. Hey, you're gonna eat thunder and crap lightning, kid.
Holy cow! See, we didn't even know we had all the celebrities. Hold on.
Weird you are. Weird you are.
You only find all these celebrities on House of the Unusual podcast.
I like that. That's pretty cool.
Michael.
Oh, I don't know.
What he's trying to tell you is more. He wants more.
Yeah.
No, Huckabee. Actually, Huckabee had what's his name? Littles, the comedian. Rich Little's on, and he imitated Ronald Reagan. He imitated a bunch. And you know what, guys, talking about that, one of the things that came to my mind, and I said, this is going to be the failure of the guy who's doing the monsters again, a rock zombie. He should have taken the guy from Everybody Loves Raymond, the big tall guy who plays Herman Monster. He would have been a phenomenal Herman Monster for that show.
All about is Garrett? Is his name Garrett something?
Yeah, Brad Garrett.
Brad Garrett. That's it. Yeah.
I'm very surprised he didn't look him up, because he would have been phenomenal. I've seen him dressed.
He played Jackie. He played the guy from the Honeymooners.
Jackie Gleason.
Yeah, he played Jackie Gleason in a movie a few years ago.
Yep.
He did an excellent job. Excellent.
I believe Jackie Gleason was the one that went with Nixon to see the UFO.
Yes, Jackie and I went.
Yeah, I believe it was
hey, Ruffy boy. Hey.
You know, Joe, I'm thinking that's correct. Are you saying that as a joke, or are you saying it was?
No, that's what I believe it was. I believe it was.
Because I read something. I think I have the report, if I'm correct on that. Because yes, guys, whether I did or not, I usually bought every book out there on the subject due to the fact that I like UFOs. And while my enormous move has been going on, to some reason I think it's from outer space. I'm going to need some aliens to teleport the stuff from one area to the other. Mike, I don't know if you've been aware, but for the last 3.5 weeks, I've been taking the stuff out of my daughters and putting them in independent storage.
Oh man, that's
and I've rented 3 trucks, one 17-foot and 2 15-foot U-Haul.
Holy moly!
And I still and with my CRV, I've done 8 trips total, loaded with the seat down, and I still need to rent another truck on Tuesday. I'm heading actually over to my daughter's house tonight to pack up more stuff. And I still need like half. So it's going to be like another 2 truckloads just to get along sorted out when it's to the new location.
Wow.
But one thing I'm going to tell you, I've been looking at it, and I have so many UFOs. So far, I counted 37, I think it was 37 UFO books. Report to, and some go back for the 1940s. I have one that it's a beautiful cover. It has a flying saucer coming off the ground. Has like a shadow on the ground. It looks like it's a lunar something. I forgot the name of it. But there's so many UFO books I have. I have a Roswell that has a VHS tape with it. I don't know what it's about. I mean, it's Roswell. The Aztec, the other Roswell. So I have a lot of books that I'm going to one day actually, because one of the things I was thinking of doing, and people out there, I'm still working on, if maybe you want to send some suggestions to us, is one, and this is really a big announcement to make that a lot of you guys haven't even realized, because it's been happening as of the. But what I'm going to be doing, I'm setting up like a little area where I'm going to do weekly unboxings of the stuff I have for like 40, 50 years put away. And
wow.
so that's going to be like, the Johnson Smith unboxing, the Honor House unboxing.
That would be cool. That would be
yes.
Here's the best thing, guys. You're going to love this. We went over 1,000 subscribers by a couple, and we've done amazing over 6,200 hours of watch time. So that means we have almost triple our watch time in the last couple of weeks.
Nice.
We had 2,000. Now we're over 6,000. So now we are able to guys. So I'm going to apply for the monetization tonight for the YouTube channel. So
Great.
yeah, this is going to be phenomenal. So Joe, you will now, my friend, be worldwide
The richest guy in the world.
the richest guy, the richest host in a very unusual way.
I love the April Fool's video that you put out, Eddie. That was really cool.
That was cool.
That was really Joe. You look so.
I tell you what, Chuck. I told Eddie, Cheri really had you at the end there when she said, "Oh,
I tell you what, Joe.
Look on your face, man."
I was a second away from going, "Oh, come on, we have to do this again."
You want to know something's going to make you guys laugh? Look how stupid sometimes people are, like me, for example. And then she goes, "Oh, I didn't have the recorder on." I'm like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me." And I'm watching it, and I'm like, "What am I thinking?"
Like you're there live or something.
Yeah, she got me. She got me good. She really. And Joe, you look so young. Oh my goodness, you could pass as my son. Wow. Oh my goodness.
I know. Without the beard, man, I look, a little young there. A year ago. But yeah, I tell you what, man. Your face at the end of that was just priceless, man. We got to get a screenshot of that.
Yeah, she got me good, because there are times when we can't get the video quite right, and we do have to film a few things several times. And you know what? I get frustrated. She gets frustrated. It's like, oh man, and
Yeah.
And so I thought that was one of those days, and I'm just about ready to say, "Oh, come on."
That's what I'm saying. That a lot of you guys, it's crazy, but I just got the invitation from YouTube for me to apply to get monetized.
Awesome.
Oh, that's great.
So that's what I'm saying. That it doesn't happen automatically. I thought it did, but apparently you have to apply, and that's what I was actually going to do today.
Well, hey, thanks to all the listeners out there, man. It's you guys who are doing it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Mike, believe it or not, Mike, you and Chuck have actually made the show a whole lot better. I mean, every time Mike comes on, he blows the thing with the listeners, and so does when you do those specials, you kept alive the channel each and every Friday with Chuck's Corner, and it just kept expanding. And what I think that the reason this has helped is for two things. One, not really knowing what we're doing, and I'm saying I should say, because I'm kind of new to the social couple of years. I didn't realize that, I was saying, why is our podcast growing and the YouTube channel is so slow? And then I was shown how to do the analytics, and I didn't realize that the people that listen to us, the audience, just like the same audience that goes to Chiller Theater, are between the ages of 45 and 60. That's 83.5% of our audience. On YouTube, we were reaching, our audience was between the ages of 35 and 42, 100% of our audience.
Wow.
What happened with that is we were not, when we talked about YouTube on, Honor House and Johnson Smith, you had a couple of hits, but you really didn't have that many hits due to the fact that we were reaching the wrong audience. When Chuck came in with the magic, and like and Mike, you said this many times, Chuck said it, there's an up and down rhythm with magic. You'll have it for 10 years as a surge, and then it stops. And the thing with magic, there's always something new, and it's always something that I guess is so popular, it's the unknown. So when a magician performs, you're not going to know what he's going to do, what he's about to do. And going on America's Got Talent, so many magicians and stuff has now caused a resurgence of magic again. So Chuck being on the channel on a steady basis has caused the channel to grow every single month. We were at 398 people in December, and right now we're over 1,000. And we could say it's basically courtesy of Chuck in that.
That's great.
Yay, Chuck.
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear it.
It's a good thing. And then, of course, let's be honest, we got to give credit to one and only Joe.
Yes,
because
he does.
Joe carries the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Joe is awesome.
Yeah, I actually told Joe the other day. I said,
No,
Joe,
not me.
Well,
Not
well,
me.
no, I was going
The
to
other
say,
Joe.
I
Don't
was
be
telling
shy.
Joe the other day, and if you remember, Joe, I was telling you that I started with the idea of starting my own radio station back in the late 90s, early 90s, actually, where I answered an ad that appeared in a magazine called Income Opportunities. And the ad said, start your own radio station. Now, the way this was that you
We
would
call
buy.
that spam now.
No, that wasn't actually what happened. It was is that and it wasn't a scam actually. What it was is that they sold you a FM wireless transmitter that you would put in somebody selling their home, and then they would put on their lawn a sign that said, if you want to find out about the home, tune in to whatever radio station. And since it had a half-mile transmission, or 4 blocks away, whatever, a person could tune into their FM radio
That's
to
kind
your
of neat.
station. And that's how it said start a radio station. The ad was fabulous. So I ordered it, and I wound up buying one of the units, hoping to do whatever. But then I went ahead, and there's a famous flea market that's been for over 40 years in my area. And that flea market is called Flea Market. It's right next to the Giant Stadium. And I thought that if I were to get an FM transmitter and go out there and then tell all the vendors that for a certain fee, I will run ads for their thing that anybody coming around the area would be able to listen to for half a mile or more from the air. Anyway, I went ahead and spent $4,000, actually $2,700 in an FM transmitter. When I got it, I installed it in an Econoline van that I had, and I was all excited. When I applied for the FCC license, they told me there was none availability up in my area, that I had to go to South Jersey by like English.
Jeez.
I'm like, what?
Wow.
So I wound up, thank God I did it right away. And within 30 days, I got my money back, returned the transmitter. So the point I'm trying to say is that's how long it's been since I was trying to start my own station. But I just didn't know how to do it. Then along comes Joe, like along comes the spider and sits right. Along came Joe. And then I told Joe, hey, Joe, why don't we do it? Now it's been 3 years. This is our 3rd season now. And we're on like the 15th episode of our 3rd season with thousands of listeners, courtesy of Joe Pav. No,
That's because Joe has alien DNA.
That's exactly right. That's
I come from Podcast Planet.
Yeah.
Right.
He's a lizard.
That's a good one, Joe.
Hey, Mike, I wanted to ask you, because I know that you have a book about your ghost hunting and all that's going to be coming out. Is there a little bit more you could tell us about the book? And do you have any recent ghost hunting experiences?
I've always got ghost hunting experiences happening because
All
I do
right.
a lot of ghost hunting. I was on another podcast last night with Bozeman Paranormal Society, and I go with them quite a bit up in Montana. And boy, we were sharing some incredible stories. But my ghost trancer, A Hymnist Among the Spirits, is in process, and it will be coming out eventually here. Very excited about it. It's available for pre-order, and it's going to be awesome. It has lots of my life stories in it, and but we're surrounded by the spirit realm. I mean, I don't know, however you want to identify it, but I'm sure you guys have things happen almost weekly that you say, how, what was going on there? I take a walk every night, and the other night, you ever have that feeling where the hair's up on the back of your neck and you think someone's right behind you all the time?
Oh yeah.
And then you keep looking around. I go on walks at 1, 2, or 3 a.m. in the morning because it's very quiet. Then nobody's around. And so when I'm walking at night, I never have this experience, but the other night I did. And it was really strange because I just had to keep looking back. There was just something happening. I didn't have my equipment with me, unfortunately, because I was just out for a casual walk. But I know for sure something was along the way with me on that walk. It was just really, really overwhelming, the feelings that I was getting from it. I didn't go home early because I was kind of interested in it and wanted to keep experiencing it, but it was very, very strange, just really, really odd. One of those I know you all have had that experience, and we all have these experiences, but we just don't know how to identify them. But yeah, I'm sure many listeners have had this happen to them, where they've been feeling like someone's right behind you, breathing almost on your neck, but yet there's nobody there. And it's very hard to explain it. If I had my equipment, maybe I could have had more a definition on what was going on, but it was strange.
I tell you what, Mike, a few years ago, I went with a buddy out to about 45 minutes from where I live. We went to two different spots to check them out. One was called Gretchen's Lock, and the other one doesn't really have a name. It's just kind of a bridge that has been blocked off. And I guess on Gretchen's Lock decades ago, I can't remember the full story, but I guess like a 3-year-old girl died out there, and it's supposedly haunted by her. And we went out at night and walked around there, took some photos, didn't see or feel anything. We didn't have any equipment or anything. We just kind of wanted to go check it out.
Yeah.
And then we went to the closed off bridge. Now the closed off bridge is a very it's actually a very spooky place, and not really for the paranormal, but for what actually has happened there. So it's off a main road, and it's this bridge that goes across a river to the other side of town. Well, the bridge is blocked off. It's been blocked off for 20 years or so. Well, where it's at, it's kind of like out in the boondocks, and there's a lot of like satanic cult activity that goes on there.
There you go. Yeah.
And about, I think it was 12 years ago or so, there was a girl that was murdered there, and the case is still unsolved.
Oh,
and
wow.
if anybody wants to look it up, it's in Columbiana County. I believe it's Salem, Ohio. And, there was a girl murdered there. They'd never found out who it was, but she was ritualistically murdered there.
Oh,
and,
man.
when you go there, you could see all these, satanic, runes and markings all over the place. And I had talked to the way I found out about that is a couple years ago, I was talking to a guy. He had some comic books that he wanted to give away. So I got a hold of him on Facebook and met up with him, and he was telling me about the place. And he said when him and a few of his buddies went there to visit it, they were walking towards the bridge, and they seen this huge shadow being that chased them back into the cars. And I said, "Oh, okay, that place sounds interesting." And we went out there at night and checked around it, and you could still see all like the satanic markings everywhere, and the places where they do rituals. I guess if you go there certain times during the year, you could find dead animals that have been sacrificed and everything.
Oh,
I know the police have been kind of watching it a lot more closely over the years, so that that kind of activity has really died down. But it's a spooky place. But again, we didn't see or hear or feel anything.
The thing about it, Joe, is that a place like that generates, it's like a generator of a spirit energy, and it's unfortunately can be negative energy, and that's always hard. I always have to kind of shut myself down to a point when I go to places like that, because it's too overwhelming, the energy from it. But that's interesting. That's a fascinating place. You mentioned a shadow person chasing people. I've experienced shadow people, and it's pretty interesting. I was in the old Montana prison up in Deer Lodge, Montana one time, and one time we were there at the witching hour, 3 a.m, and I was doing an investigation, and on the third story of the prison, there was a shadow person that came out and was staring down at us, and then just went back into the cell, and we went up there and it was gone. And I have seen that on several occasions, and so that doesn't surprise me, and especially in an area that's highly charged like that.
Oh yeah. Hey, I'm first to admit, when I was a young kid, we grew up in a it was me and my family. We actually lived in a haunted house. Every night around maybe 9 o'clock, 9:30. We'd hear heavy footsteps up in the attic. I have no idea to this day what it was. I mean, heavy footsteps.
Your chains
no, it was just heavy footsteps. And you know what? And there's a good buddy of mine, Keith. I mean, he doesn't believe anything, And I told him this recently. I heard heavy footsteps. We'd all hear it, and then there was heavy like breathing too, almost like a wheezing type of thing. He said, mouse. I said, no, that's it'll be like a 200-pound mouse with work boots,
Well, and the unfortunate thing is, Chuck, that people that are really skeptical, they're never going to experience it.
They're never going to, exactly.
Yeah. They're not open to experiencing it.
Right.
I tell you what, I take the paranormal stuff the same way I do with the UFO stuff, is that I take it case by case, and I believe the person, but I still am skeptical about, what they say. So I don't just take, if someone tells me I seen a ghost, I just don't take it as face value.
Right. You got to check into
I want to know,
Sure.
what were you doing? Where were you at? What was the temperature? What time of day was it? Were there other people that, I'd like to talk about it. And I tell you what's really, and I hate watching a lot of these ghosts and UFO shows on TV. I was watching one last week, and I just I was looking for something to watch. I was bored, and I was watching it, and I think it was called Paranormal Caught on Camera.
Oh, yes.
I'm familiar.
And
yeah, I do.
They had, I think there was like about 8 of them on this episode, and there was 2 of them that I could say, okay, yeah, that is legit, but there still might be some questions. And the rest of them were like, well, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this. Nobody's asking questions. They're kind of taking it at face value. And I'm saying, well, this could be a lot of stuff that, they were showing one where this guy was filming in an abandoned house, and a door started to creak open. And then, he just said, I'm getting out of here. And he ran out. And these paranormal experts were saying, oh, yeah, that happens all the time. That was definitely a ghost and this and that. And I'm saying, well, but nobody ever looked into the room. There, was there an open window in there? Was there a draft coming?
Exactly.
Right.
Because
I think that a lot of these shows, paranormal, UFO, monster, and cryptid hunters, and all that, I think they do a huge disservice to people out there that are actually scientifically looking at these cases.
Yes,
asking
I agree.
questions.
Chuck and I are magicians, so when we look at these, we can see clearly how some of it's achieved. You were talking about a thread theory earlier in regard to something else. I won't go any deeper than that, but Chuck and I are familiar with thread theories. And so you watch these, and we can clearly see that some of them could be debunked. And you're right, Joe, what you're saying. It's a big disservice. Now, I will tell you, because you mentioned about a door opening, I had a thing in Bannock in Ghost Town in Montana last summer. I have the video. You can look on my YouTube page of Bannock, the ghost hunt. And I'm telling you, we were in the saloon, and it's where there was a sheriff in that town that went out, and he was the sheriff, but also he had a gang that would go out and rob people after they would get their money from the mines. And so he'd go in this saloon. They would get together to talk about their ideas and who were they going to rob and all this. Anyway, we went in there with actually this time the Bozeman Paranormal Society too with me, and we were all in the room. We're trying to contact this sheriff guy because he's considered very violent and an evil guy. And we had cameras multiple going, and there was no wind blowing. Well, there's a little breeze, no wind though. Okay. And I had shut the front door of the saloon so that nobody would bother us in there, because it was open for touring that day. And it had a latch on it, where you push down with your thumb and you latch the door. Anyway, we're calling out for this guy. We have various devices around the room. All of a sudden, that door opened and slammed open, just bam, just like that. And there was no wind to cause that. There was nothing that would have made it happen. There was no thread theory going on. And it just blew my mind. I've never seen anything that violent, that powerful in front of me during an investigation. But yeah, you can see that on my YouTube channel if you look for the Bannock ghost hunt. But I will tell you that happened. It's absolute fact. And that particular time, I got video capture of it because we had a couple cameras going at the same time.
Wow. We'll check that out.
Cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. Stuff like that, you guys actually, are professional and are taking a look at this and could say, yes, this is, I could rule all this other stuff out. But I mean, this stuff that I've seen is clear as day. And it's like, guys, ask some questions, man. Do a little bit of research. I mean, when I did UFO investigations, I looked at every case. I said, okay, I believe this person, but now I want to try to debunk this. I want to go through every little thing and see what
I think that's the key word you just mentioned. You have to try and debunk whatever it is first.
Right. Yeah. And then when I can't debunk it, when I've ruled everything out, then I know I have a good case there. I know I've done my due diligence. I've ruled everything out. If I can't be 100% rule it out, then I could say, hey, it could be this. I'm not sure, but hey, there's a 1% chance here. And if I'm not 100%, I'm not going with it. And there's been, times where I've looked at stuff and I said, I don't know what this is. And I've had to send it to other investigators that have been doing it longer, have a little bit more resources, and say, hey, I can't figure this out. take a look at it, and they'll come back and say, yeah, this is good, or no, it's a hoax. And there are a lot of hoaxers out there that try to get people for one reason or another. But man, I mean, I think people that are in the UFO field and the paranormal field, we already catch flack from the public and all that. And you know what? And I think a lot of these shows, a lot of these books that are being put out there, magazines, TV shows, it's not doing us a service.
No, definitely not.
It's not. Well, let me put in my
research.
It's not doing. But I'm sorry, Joe. I hope I didn't speak over you there. What I was going to say is my opinion and all this stuff is, of course, we got to remember those shows are there to make money.
Right.
So the one with Bigfoot, finding Bigfoot, they find Bigfoot every single week. It's obviously stupid, but this is the way I look at it. A lot of people now, we all know there is two sides. There's a spirit world, there's a regular world. Now, this is my opinion. Now, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. The Bible says stay away from such things because they will do you no good. In other words, when you seek out the spirit world, it's going to eventually not do any good at the end.
Right.
Now, that's my thing. When I was young, I experienced one or two things. I think I told you guys one time in Cuba, the hands that came by the door and stuff. Once I was a little older and I became a Christian and stuff, I got to tell you something. I've dealt in the hospital with dead people, putting them in and out of the times. I've been in where they do autopsies and stuff. And I am I've never seen anything. I'm not afraid of anything. I don't care anything. And the basic reason is because I guess I go, Jesus, you're in my heart. Take care of me. And it keeps me away from that spirit world, from doing harm. It's true what Mike said. In his opinion, when you go to those satanic and stuff, that's where it proves not only the existence of God, because God is a spirit, but it proves that there is something beyond what we believe here.
Absolutely.
You get Penn and Teller, for example, for them, nothing's real. But at the same time, they don't want to accept, because they're skeptics, that there's that 1%. You got to take Joe's stand on that. Will I investigate? Will I not? Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. What I'm saying, it doesn't touch me, because as a Christian, I am protected by God from being in those fields.
Yeah, correct.
That's the way I'm saying. But there is a field out there, and
Amen.
Good research does benefit for both. It proves the existence of God at the same time. It proves the existence of a spirit world, and also at the same time, it takes skeptics where they won't be able to explain off, but you have to, because you also have a lot of crackpots out there,
right?
Especially with the shows. And you know what? Books like Mike, like you're putting out, they're pretty great in that way, because you're really a true investigator. Joe, you're a true investigator. But what they show on the Travel Channel, what they show is stupid. It's just stupid. I mean, it's some of the things. It's like not only do they don't, but the so-called experts, and then you find out, and this is a good example. I forgot who it was. They were seeing who was behind the History Channel's True, things like that, and you would see that a lot of them were disqualified. That it was all there for money. They were making money in what they were experts in. I'm not going to get in details, because some of the shows I kind of like myself, and I don't want to debunk them, whatever. But they got into one of the particular shows that were, about UFOs and stuff, and they kind of debunked the people. I was like, are you kidding me? And then when I saw the history, I'm like, wow, that's true. But at the same time, you know what, Joe, you have a good mentality for that. I'm glad you're going back in the field. I hope you, Mike, you're superb. So, Mike, I can't tell you more that I appreciate everything you do, buddy. You're really cool. And I just texted you before, but I hope you read my text.
I did, but I won't be out till next year at this time. So I will get you one.
I'm just saying,
you got it. You got it.
Hey, Mike, I got a quick question for you, because we're coming up here at the bottom of the hour. But now, since you've been doing paranormal investigations and all that for a while, have you ever had any ghost or spirit hitchhikers? That have followed you back to your house or hotel or anything like that?
Well, I always do prayers before I go into the ghost hunt. And then at the end, I do a prayer for them also. But I also tell them that this is where you live, and so you have to stay here because I'm going home now. And so I always talk to them that way, and then I say a prayer and wish for them to be able to either move on or be able to be happy in their where they're at. But I always tell them not to follow. Now the thing is, the other night with that feeling, it did follow me home. So I don't know.
I also heard I was listening to I think it was a podcast. I'm not.
Come on, Joe, say the truth. They followed you home, right? Come on.
Yeah. And it was about these paranormal ghost hunters, and they said how important it is to, when you go to a place, and they said a lot of people make this mistake that they just go to a place, start investigating, and that they recommend if you're going to a place, to come in there and kind of talk to the ghosts like they're like you're just interested. You're like, hi, my name is Joe. I'm an investigator.
That's right.
So I hope you welcome me into your house. How important is that when you do an investigation?
Well, it really is, because it's where they live. We don't live there. It's like if someone came into your home, and so you need to talk to them and assure them that you're not there to do any damage to them, but you're just there to listen. And if they want to talk to you or communicate with you, you're there to listen, and they can tell you how they feel or tell you whatever. And of course, we use ghost boxes, and they are very effective. And sometimes we have an interesting communication with whoever is in the room or in the facility. So yeah, it's very important, because again, think if someone came into your home without your permission, how would you feel about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So anyone out there doing, paranormal investigations, UFO investigations, anything, just remember to be respectful of those living.
That's right.
And contact Joe.
Unliving.
Contact Joe, please.
Yeah.
Joe, I got a question. This is how we know. Would you ever do in a podcast and somebody tapped you in the shoulder and then you turn around, no one was there?
Has that ever happened to me?
Yes, Joe.
No.
So then I think that you're okay. They didn't follow you home. You're all right.
Yeah, nothing follows. Nothing wants to come
well, Cheri's tapping on my shoulder right now, so I don't know.
Hey, I wanted to ask Cheri, she's the one that's on the videos with you demonstrating the magic?
Yeah, that's correct. Here, Cheri, go ahead, talk to Mike.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
you have such a wonderful personality. I can tell you have a very good heart, and you're a very kind person.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so
Well,
much.
I'm very sensitive to things like that. In fact, last week I was out doing readings for people using a pendulum, and I have a very sensitivity to things like that. And I watched you on the videos with Chuck, and I thought, she is such a pleasant person. She has this really positive energy around her.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
Definitely makes the videos a little bit more, a lot more lively, hearing her commentary on them. I know we've said that before, with them. Every time Chuck does something, and that last April Fool's one, her commentary on that was great.
Well, she's so genuine. I can feel it.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. And you guys got to also know the commercial that goes in between our channel every time it plays, that's her voiceover.
That's her voice.
Awesome.
That's her.
Well, you're I can tell you're a very kind, sweet individual. So just wanted to tell you that while you're on here.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You know what, Mike? We'll be married
30
years, May 22nd.
Yep.
Wow! Congratulations.
Welcome. Congratulations there.
Yeah. It went fast, man. I'm telling you. Oh, we are.
It does.
Wait, guys, we got about 2.5 minutes, so we're going to go around and give everyone a quick 30 seconds to say what they want to say. So, Chuck and Cheri, we're going to start off with you guys.
Okay.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot for having us. We certainly enjoy and we appreciate coming on. And
exactly.
And thanks to all the viewers out there, all the listeners. Cheri?
Yeah, thanks to everyone. It was a good show, and I appreciate everybody. And have a blessed week.
Awesome, Michael. Going over to you.
Just going to mention, I'm still looking for votes for my Rondo Hatton Award. I know that Joe, I think Eddie's going to put that or has put that on somewhere for people to know how to vote. And I really appreciate your votes. They close off this week, and I'm really excited about my article of Monsters and Magic being nominated. So if you're listening and you're inclined to, please follow up and vote.
Absolutely. And just to follow up on that, you could just type in, on any search classic horror film board. It'll take you right to the homepage, and you could just scroll down and say Rondo Hatton Classic Horror Awards, and that's where you'll find them. Eddie, final thoughts.
Yes, in the last podcast, there's a link where Mike was on, and it tells you exactly what to do and what to send about the voting. Please log into that. I'm going to also log it onto this podcast as well. In our link below, you'll be able to see how to vote. People that are listening, please vote, because Mike Mezmer is a phenomenal person. He's helped us out a lot. And the other thing I was going to say, and this is very forward, is that it's coming soon. A lot of you guys are been waiting for him, and he's been in the covers for a long time. Todd Mitchin has agreed with me to be in next week's show. He's got a lot to talk about. The remake.
Well, it's about time.
Yeah, it's about time. And his remake of the X-ray glasses, where he has been remaking the package.
Wow, cool.
It still looks the same original artwork and everything, but he made it a little more lively, Todd's way, I guess, and, everything else. And another thing, I'm going to try to get Dr. Saab to be on another podcast as well, because now that we do 7 p.m., a lot more people are able to come on. So having said that, again, guys, we'll be monetized by next week.
Yay.
Our YouTube channel is going to blow. And I'm telling you, like now, I'm really planning a lot of stuff coming up ahead.
All right, everyone. Well, that's our time. So thank you for joining us. Everyone out in podcast land, thank you for joining us, and good night.
All right. God
Good
bless.
God bless everybody. Goodbye.
Good night.